Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
It is picked off by the line. Darius Slay's got it. Coming back right side 25. Picks up a block at the 30. Darius at the 40.
Drink it in, drink it in. Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
Rolls to the right. Stafford throws deep. Got a man out there. End zone. Caught. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Marvin Jones.
Stafford! Drink it in, drink it in.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Cornbread.
Stafford! Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
Detroit Koolaid, what is going on, everybody? We are back, and we got no Grifka here. It's going to be me going solo, but I got so much to talk about in this episode. I am super fired up, so I appreciate everybody listening to the Detroit Koolaid cast. We're going to get into a bunch of stuff today. I'm super excited about it. So normally right off the get-go here, we get our news and notes, and I'm going to help the NFL right now. In 2 minutes or less, I'm going to solve all the problems for all these billionaires, all these guys on Park Avenue that for some reason can't figure out the rule book, overtime, all these different things. I mean, everybody that's out there probably was watching football last week. I mean, incredible set of games, both going to overtime, both with some crazy plays back and forth. I mean, it was just absolutely off the charts. Now, of course, when we come to Monday, what is everybody talking about? Everybody's talking about these missed calls by these refs, you know, how overtime's decided by a coin toss, all this, that, and the other. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, I've had to hear it for days now. I mean, it's taken away from the greatness of Tom Brady, taken away from the incredible back and forth game between the Rams and the Saints. So let me do this right now before we start talking Lions, before we start getting everything. Let me solve these issues right now. Roger Goodell, you can put a check in the mail to me once I fix these issues for you. So let's start with the first issue I've had to hear a bunch about. And it's about what's reviewable, what's not reviewable, why they didn't get that pass interference call right in the Rams-Saints game. Right now in the NFL, there's certain plays you can review, there's certain plays you can't review. You know, they think they have this in because some are black and white, others aren't. So they're trying to just review things that are simple. Like, I'm here to tell you that it's this simple. Every coach in the NFL gets 2 challenges. They're allowed to throw those flags once they think a call is made and it's an incorrect call, or, you know, they see something on the field that they want to be looked at, but it's only this small section. So everybody's saying, like, if you open up these other things to review, it's going to open up Pandora's box. This is how you fix it. You give the coaches the same 2 reviews they have. You keep the same type of review rules that you have right now, but you open it up and you allow those coaches to use those 2 challenges on a pass interference, on a potential call that's outside of those rules, because they would only get 2 throughout the entire ball game, and you know they're not going to use those 2 randomly because they'll lose the timeout. Now people would say, well, if a big touchdown happens, they'll just throw this flag regardless. I'm here to tell you that the way you would button it up is like if you were going to challenge a missed holding or a bad holding call or some type of what they call a judgment issue, you'd actually have to say, I want to review that pass interference on number 23. You don't get to like review everything on the field like they kind of say everything is open for review. You have to like delineate what review you want on what certain player. They go back and look at that play and then they make a judgment. 2 per game, 2 per coach. That's 4 possible total in the entire football game. And then this whole 2 minutes everything's reviewed, we throw that out the window, and the coaches or the replay booth does not get to review everything that we're now opening it up to supposedly. They're going to just stay with their same process of reviewing all the things they're currently reviewing. So this opening up the challenges only goes to these marginal, these game-changing type issues, and you get 2 per game, 2 per team, 2 per coach. Like, I don't think it's that hard. I mean, you're not going to open up plays, like I said, to just say, well, I think there might have been a holding on that call. Go look at everything. No. But if there's a blatant hold missed late in the third quarter that's going to cost you a big play or a football game, yeah, you can throw your red flag and get that looked at. So what I'm talking about is not even in the first quarter, third quarter, whatever it may be. What I'm trying to say is that each coach is going to get 2 challenges regardless. So, like in the Saints-Rams game, when that play happens, the guy gets there before the football. Yeah, they didn't call it. Yes, it's obvious. Even though it's under the 2 minutes and it's quote-unquote unreviewable, throws his red flag. The guys go and look at it and they see, yep, we missed it. He got there early. You got to get this one right. And they make the change. So, from the beginning of the game till 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, it's pretty much status quo, except for coaches have the ability to throw that red flag and get 2 things looked at per game. If they get 2 right, I think the way the NFL works now, you throw that you get a third challenge. That's fine as well. So the way it would work is if you're in a ball game and you blow your first challenge in the first quarter and your second one in the third quarter, and you lose them both, you're done. If something terrible happens late in the football game, you're done. You blew your challenges, you didn't use them wisely, but what it does do is it protects a team that is smart enough to hold on to them till late in the football game when those quote-unquote game-changing plays can happen and mistakes can be made, and these plays that are unreviewable or objective type calls that aren't reviewable now, don't even overcomplicate it. Just make those potentially reviewable if the coach has a flag and he points it out and says, hey, I want that pass interference on 23 looked at. They go under the hood, they look at it. If it was pass interference, you make the call and you get it right. That's why they have replay. So that's all I'm trying to say is I think like if you expand the rules, but really just expand it saying that the coaches can challenge anything they want, but they have to be specific at what they want looked at, that helps. And then also if you blow through your challenges, that at the end of a game, it's going to be exactly how it is now. That someone might get burned, but that's because you can put it back on the coach and the team now that, hey, you used your challenges early and either got them wrong or the refs still didn't agree with you, it wasn't clear, whatever the case may be, and you end up losing them. So I think that simple tweak can fix all this stuff about the refs, and I think it's simple as that. Secondly, we want to talk about these overtime rules, about not getting the ball because of a coin toss, or, Patrick Mahomes never touched it, this is just unfair. This one is pretty simple too. Right now we flip a coin, and if the first team goes down and scores a touchdown, it's the ball game. If they don't score a touchdown and the other team goes back the other way and kicks a field goal, it's ball game. To me, this could be pretty simple as well. No matter who wins the coin flip, no matter if they score a touchdown, let's say they win the coin flip and they go down and score a touchdown. The other team then gets the football, just as they would in a regular game, to try to then go back and match that touchdown. If they go back and match that touchdown on their first drive, then we go into the rules of any score after that is going to be the game winner. To me, that lets both teams touch the football. It may extend overtimes a bit, but those are exciting and the fans are locked in anyway, so I don't see a huge issue other than it's going to extend the game a little bit. So let both teams get it. If both teams score touchdowns, which is pretty rare in the NFL to get a ball on the 20, 25 to start and go right down the field and score. Unless you're Tom Brady, who seems to do it every time when all the chips are on the line. So, I think it's that simple, just adding each team to get the ball. So, every year these guys go down to Boca Raton, Florida, wherever they go, billionaires spending all this money to have these league meetings, and they can't get anything figured out. I think I did it in about 4 to 5 minutes for you at the max. So I want to get that off my chest right off the get-go. The other thing I want to talk about, I mean, we got Senior Bowl going on right now. I mean, I'm getting the draft board going. It's going up, looking at free agents, all this stuff. Senior Bowl, starting to really get some interesting names there. There's a good interview with Bobby Quinn out there, so all you Koolaid drinkers that are looking for some draft content or want to hear from Bobby Quinn, I know he sat down for an interview I caught on YouTube, so that was pretty good. And the main thing I took away was, it just seems pretty adamant getting it out there that, if we stay at 8. So I think he's really looking to probably move down the draft board this year, if possible. I know we always say that's best case scenario, but that's really what I thought he was saying is we'd love to trade down. If not, we'll take the best football player, in my opinion, probably be defensive side of the ball, and then the second, third rounds, look for that offensive playmaker that he needs. So that was pretty good. Just a couple other quick things before we jump into it. Anybody that's out there that's on Twitter, check us out, Detroit_Koolaid on Twitter. And then also, if you're looking for a fun follow, like TJ Lang, shout out to TJ Lang, man. This guy has got a great sense of humor. If you ever see him on 97.1, I mean, he's just incredible. And he's on Twitter, always dropping some hilarious lines or kind of live tweeting during football games. I mean, that's always pretty cool to check him out. So I've been following him, and he's pretty funny. I really hope, that he's healthy, he gets it together, and then, like you say, the Lions and him can maybe come to an agreement if he still wants to play football and get him back here. But regardless, I mean, he's going to be great either in the commentary booth or as one of those guys that sits on NFL Network, one of the talking heads, or whatever he wants to do. I mean, just a great guy in the community in the state of Michigan, so I want to shout him out. TJ Lang, appreciate all you do, man. Hope you're healthy. Keep bringing those funny one-liners on Twitter. Keep getting after the NFL and all these other people for their dumb takes or their terrible rules or all that stuff. And hopefully we can have you playing right guard there for the Detroit Lions in 2019. With all that being said, that's our news and notes for the day. I mean, what I wanted to do today was kind of get into a Jets review. I kind of went back on, I think on the other podcast, I called it NFL Rewind. I mean, that was a few years ago. It's NFL Game Pass now, where you can check that out and kind of, get that 30-minute version of the game, kind of do all types of rewind, watch players, watch certain plays in the game, all that type of stuff. So just went back and watched that condensed version of the Jets game. I mean, I got a bunch of notes here. I'm going to kind of just work my way through this football game, because what I wanted to do in the next few weeks is sort of take these games from the 2018 season and quickly kind of go back through them, look at them now that the season's over, because I think it's different than when we were all hyped up, season was starting, we thought we'd go in and just kill the Jets, we thought we'd be able to take care of San Francisco, and then when that didn't happen, we kind of had a different perspective on it. But I wanted to go back now after we had a rough season, but we added some building blocks, we sent some building blocks away, kind of look at it with a different set of eyes and talk it through. So let me hit you just with a couple quick hits of things I saw when I went back and watched this game. Monday Night Football in Ford Field against the Jets. I mean, the first thing that jumped off the page, I think I caught it on like a different network, was Matt Pat. I mean, they had him mic'd up, and I think he went out to visit his family, and his family was just like looking at him and was super happy. And he's like, "Are you nervous?" And they were like, "Oh, we're so nervous." And he's like, "Don't be nervous, we'll be all right." He was really calm, but you could tell how excited he was. And as it got close to kickoff, he kind of just had this sense of, man, I'm an NFL head coach, which was super cool to see. And so, like, literally right before the first play for the Jets on offense, they had him mic'd up, and the part I saw, he was kind of like, all right, watch for either a misdirection rollout or a kind of a throwback across the field. He was kind of telling himself or the defense or whatever he was doing. Sure enough, man, Sam Darnold rolls out to the right, kind of looks over there, but then looks all the way back across the field, throws that thing up. I mean, Quandre Diggs read this thing unbelievably, came from his safety position all the way across that field. Easy interception, but just made a great play on the ball. Then he really got after it to get to the house and make a play after that. So that was just super fun to re-see and just think how crazy it was in the stadium, and everything was going nuts. So couldn't have been a better play to start the season. Fun that Matt Pat really had that one buttoned up, like that was going to happen, and he was on the lookout for it, so that was fun to see. And And man, now we got to talk about the rest of the game. So, again, just quick hits. I mean, I thought Matt Stafford was off just from the jump in this game. I mean, he was missing passes. They weren't really dialing up anything very nice there in the beginning, just kind of off target from the get-go. I thought early in the game, Sam Darnold managed the game well. I mean, he was converting third downs. But in the words of Grifka, I mean, he wasn't that great. He was doing okay. I mean, I remember after that game, everybody was acting like he was the next coming at quarterback, but I mean, he just kind of managed it well, made a few plays here and there. I mean, this game was tight into the third quarter. I mean, the end score, everybody thinks, wow, we just got absolutely our doors blown. And yeah, the end score did not look pretty, but I mean, this game late in the third quarter, before it got out of hand, I mean, late in the third quarter, it was 38-17, but coming out of the half, we got the Golden Tate touchdown, and we were right in this football game. So it just kind of spiraled out of control there. So let me just talk through a couple, some other things I put during this game. So just read my notes here. So I just think like Matt Stafford had 0 passing yards in the first quarter. I mean, what? 0 passing yards in the first quarter? Are you kidding me? Like, that just doesn't happen in the NFL. So I thought that was just ridiculous when I went back and saw that stat. I mean, I absolutely couldn't believe it. I mean, I got a big bold mark here on Quincy Enunwa with a catch that was a no catch. I mean, this guy made a catch, almost put the ball, I think it was either behind him or he kind of pinned it to himself and hit the ground. I mean, to me it was obvious. Matt Pat threw the challenge flag. And these geniuses refs that we have went under the hood, looked at it, and still gave it to him, which was a big play early on in the game. I mean, to me, it was pretty obvious when you go back and watch that game that was an incomplete pass. I thought Kenny G and Carryon were good from the jump. Every time, Stafford was getting the ball off to number 19. I mean, Kenny Golladay was making plays. It was kind of the first bit, we had seen there in the season of this new playmaker that we saw a little bit of last year, but some people were high on him, some people just didn't know, and man, I thought he showed up huge. I thought he caught the football well, he ran after the catch, really looked good. Then Carryon, I mean, he didn't get in the game to start the game. I know it was LeGarrette Blount and Theo and a few other guys, and next thing you know, when 33 got in, if you go back and watch that game, I mean, he's diving forward. He's making plays, moving the football. I think he had a couple passes there that he made some catches on. He did have some rookie jitters as well where he was, it wasn't really even his fault. He was just getting the ball, and there was just penetration in the backfield just blowing him up. So, I mean, not much you can do there, but you could tell when you go back and look now and then kind of see what they did throughout the year that, yeah, man, these guys had some good mojo, right from the start in this game. Even though it wasn't creating touchdowns or points, it was still pretty good. Let me see what else I have here. I mean, Stafford, I just felt, his basic mechanics looked good to start. I mean, he had a good base. He was dropping back. We weren't getting totally pressured right off the get-go. He had time. He just, like I said, really wasn't on target, wasn't doing what you would expect from the guy. I have a note here. I mean, the all-blue Smurf uniforms by the Lions is what you'd call no good. I mean, just go with the blue and the gray pants, please. And then when we go on the road, can I get the white Krispies and the silver pants? Because, I mean, that's the best look for our Lions, no doubt about it. But let's talk about Stafford's first pick. So, to me, I mean, the first pick is pretty obvious. He throws it up in there into double coverage, also underthrew it. I mean, just a bad football. Just can't be thrown. I've got here the second pick. To me, was a pass interference. And if you go back and look at it, it was slant route. I want to say it was to GT. GT coming off the ball, trying to run one of those quick slants. He just gets drilled by the safety, I believe, and knocks him off his route. And Stafford just throws it to a spot, which to me, I mean, how many times are we going to do this where this guy, sometimes in the NFL, I know you got to throw to spots. I know you got to anticipate. But I feel like on this play, he's been in the league long enough, and he wasn't really pressured, or there really was no reason to unleash this football when you saw your receiver basically got taken out 2 yards into the slant route. He throws it anyway to a spot, gets picked. This was the play, though, right after it gets picked. I mean, Kenny Golladay just goes beast mode and blows his guy up and creates a fumble, and we get the football back right away. So, that wasn't bad. So we got 10-7 with 2 minutes left in the second quarter, and that's when the Jets unleashed a deep ball to Robbie A there, good old Robbie Anderson, deep ball up over the top for a touchdown. I felt like the DB, I want to say it was Tavon, pretty good coverage there, but he just can't make a play on the football, and we saw that quite a bit throughout the year, so that was disconcerting. Overall, I put here, I thought Golladay played really well in the first half with the opportunities he had. Caught right after the catch, had some good numbers despite our offense really not doing a ton. Late in the first half, before we get to halftime, I mean, jumping around a little bit here, but man, we should have had a touchdown right at the end of the half. We had a good drive going, a couple penalties, I think it was, got us deep into the Jets' territory. I think we had either first and goal or just outside of the 10 there, and man, just I put here just stalled out, bad play calls, and Matt Stafford just missing a few balls or just kind of not being precise like you need a top NFL quarterback to be. I mean, throwing balls that just 50-50s that he's burning out of the end zone, or a ball that's just not where it needs to be to give his guy a chance. I mean, we think we had one or two of those, and we had a draw or a screen to Theo that was just no good, that just stalled out our drive. But it was just one of those where I think they went and got 3 points. You got to get 7 there. I mean, how many times do we say that throughout the year? And then, so we go to half. I mean, again, to me, this game is right there. I mean, basically, 14-10 game, I want to say, head into the half, something like that. Maybe 17-10, actually. And the Lions come right out of the half, and they just have a great drive. I mean, come right down the field, move the football pretty fluidly, throw the ball on a nice kind of mid-range slant type route to Golden Tate. He does what he does, scampers in after that for a nice touchdown. I think we have it on some of the Detroit Koolaid music where it's just our good boy Dan Miller. I mean, one of the greatest in the game from a play call broadcaster. Just says, Golden Tate, been looking for that all night. I mean, we definitely were looking for a little spark, and I just remember telling Grifka at the game, I said, we come down, we get a touchdown, we can be right back in this game. I mean, we're in the game regardless, but when we come down and get this touchdown, I mean, yeah, we're right there. There's no reason to not win it. And then I just got these final notes here in this game. I mean, the Jets come right back. I mean, like say, we come down, we score, the building's back into it. The score is close. What do the Jets do? They come right down the field, bing, bam, boom, throw a ball to Quincy Enunwa. I just put here just not only bad coverage, but just terrible tackling on that touchdown. Just felt like the Lions didn't want it. They threw it to this guy. He made a few moves, just kind of waltzed in the end zone. Pretty embarrassing effort there from the start, so notice that. It's about this point in the game where we get pick number 3 from Matt Stafford. I mean, here's my big beef with this one. I mean, are you kidding me? This is where Theo Riddick, I mean, any of the Kool-Aid drinkers out there that are listening, you guys know what I'm talking about. We loved it maybe 3-4 years ago. Now it's getting old. Theo Riddick probably lined up right of Stafford in shotgun. He comes out of the backfield. What does he do? He gives his little shimmy out to the right and then cuts back in to the middle of the football field. I mean, I don't know that he's ever went actually out to the right. So, nobody even buys that anymore. But he runs it every time. He comes out, he breaks down, gets shifty, gives one fake to the outside, tries to cut it up. Stafford throws it to him up the seam, and they try to run that. I mean, like I say, it used to work. I mean, now it's just, if you're not going to show the other route, nobody is buying it. So this was the same thing. The pick 3 was just, Theo ran this route, Stafford just throws it. I mean, the guy just jumps the route, picks the ball off. I mean, come on. So that again changes momentum. Next note I have here is just before you come blank. I mean, there's 8 minutes left in the third quarter, and it's 31-17. Next thing down, I mean, a punt return touchdown by Roberts, former Lion. I mean, that makes it 38-17 with 7 minutes to go in the third. I mean, they're just piling it on now. I think that one of Theo was either the pick six, or I know there's a pick six in here as well as part of that just avalanche that we had where, here we are almost tied, right after our first drive in the third quarter. And then by the middle to the end of the third quarter, it's 38-17 Jets. So, next note, pick number 4 by Matt Stafford. I mean, this was just one of those balls. I mean, he's down by a bunch of points. For some reason, he thinks he has to win it on this next throw, so he just throws the football up. There's basically 5 guys in the pitcher. I mean, this ball's not going to get completed. If anything, it's like, who's going to pick this off, first and foremost. So, just absolutely, just a garbage throw, garbage decision. I mean, I know you're trying to make a play, but at that point, I mean, it's just, you're too experienced, too good for that type of thing is kind of what I wrote here. And then that third quarter basically told it all. This is kind of where I stopped my notes. I mean, Isaiah Crowell goes for 60 yards, touchdown. I just wrote absolutely inexcusable. It wasn't even a complicated, not only play call, but, I mean, basically just they handed it off to the right. Crowell just ran off to the right, probably off the right guard. Ricky Jean either wasn't in the right gap or missed a tackle, whatever it may be. And this guy just, once he was past the line of scrimmage, I mean, he ran away from everybody and scored a 60-yard touchdown at that point. I mean, it's 40-some to 17. They're bringing in Matt Castle. I mean, there's not much more to talk about after that. It was just ugly. So, I mean, that's a basically look back at the Jets game. I know it's hard to listen to and a hard one to think at, but, what I want to take from it when I watched it was, like I said, for half of this football game, we played terrible and we were still in it. We came out in the third quarter and did what we needed to do, which was go score a touchdown to GT. That should have got us going. And at this point in the year, I just think our defense was not ready. We didn't have the scheme down. We didn't have our fits right. We didn't have enough playmakers. And that showed on the deep touchdown by Crowell. That showed our special teams having early issues, giving up that punt return touchdown, all that type of stuff. And it just got out of hand and got ugly. So, bottom line, simple. I mean, you can't come out on Monday Night Football in your house with a new coach and with a team that should have been on the come up, let a team like the Jets with a rookie quarterback come get you like they did. So I think this was an embarrassing loss for the organization, the team. I think Matt Pat took this really hard because, I don't think that he was thinking he'd come out and just, take the Jets lightly. But I definitely don't think that he thought they'd come out and do what they did. I mean, nobody could have really expected it. It was a real tough way to start your head coaching career. But as we know, kind of took him some time, but later in the year, he really started to get a handle on things. So like I said, when we're taking this look back, it's just kind of like, man, what a terrible way to start your career as a head coach. But just because he gets blown out his first game on Monday Night Football at your house, everybody's coming out with pitchforks, but this guy has Super Bowl rings. This guy has won at the highest level as a defensive coordinator. I mean, he's the guy calling the defense for Bill Belichick. He knows his stuff. This is a bad day at the office. This is a new organization. He's bringing in a new scheme, all this new stuff. I mean, to me, looking back, it was a football game that got out of hand mid to late third quarter. That happens sometimes during the year. And unfortunately, it was just on a huge stage for the first game of the season with this whole new regime changeover. I think that's why it not only felt worse, but looked a ton worse. So, that's basically it with the Jets Rewind. I mean, looking back, the bright spots again were Kenny, were Carry-On, were, not much from Matt Stafford other than, like I said, in the beginning of the game, they were kind of not in their groove, but I mean, he looked like his fundamentals were good. He was throwing the football decent. It was just inaccurate and just couldn't get sustained drives going. I mean, get a few things here or there, and then they'd stall out, or something would happen. And next thing you know, they're punting. So, it was not a good football game for him, no doubt about it. But those picks killed him. You can't give up punt return touchdown and a pick six touchdown. I mean, that's going to kill you almost every time, every game. But like I say, I saw some things I liked, and just looking back on it, I mean, the rest of the season doesn't pan out, but you could definitely chalk this up as just one of those games in the third quarter and late in the game that just got away from you. I mean, it's going to happen, but it is what it is. So, everybody, it's a little bit shorter episode with no Grifka and no co-host, but I did want to do that Jets Rewind, and I did want to talk about those NFL issues right off the get-go. I think for today we're going to go ahead and we'll close it up and be back at you Friday. And Friday, what I want to do is I'm going to hit you with a little rewind of the San Francisco game. The Lions heading out to San Fran, hitting that West Coast, and talk all about how that football game went down, because I remember lots of things in that football game, lots of ups and downs, and I'm excited to kind of break it all down for you and kind of give you my thoughts here now that the season is over, looking back at that game a little bit. So this week I wanted to do one game per episode, and then next week what I'm hoping to do is going to have Chuck Dog, my buddy Chuck, on here. Chuck's an absolute diehard Dallas Cowboy fan. So I reached out to him. I was like, "Hey Chuck, man, come on the Detroit Koolaid cast, and me and you will break down the Lions Cowboys game that went down." So we're going to work our way through that game, what we remember, kind of talk about that through a little bit. I'm sure Lions fans will be a little bit tough because Chuck's one to bring the noise, so he's probably going to his team got the win in that game, so he'll have a little fun with that. But that's kind of the plan next week, and we'll see what else we do. I mean, like I say, keep working through these games depending on what pace I can do. I might do 2 games per show next episode so I can get through these and start talking draft and free agency, or something might come up with our Lions here in the next little bit where I got to talk about it. So you just never know. I mean, we'll get some questions in there. Might have some different co-hosts, all types of stuff. Just depends how all our schedules and things shake out. But just totally appreciate everybody listening today. Me going solo, going a little bit shorter, but definitely want to work through that game. Appreciate everybody listening. I mean, it's just been awesome to see all the different people listening to the Detroit Koolaid cast, and hitting me up on Twitter and kind of sharing about this football team as we get into this off season and get excited about the future, trying to put this 2018 season behind us. So real excited about that. So just want to thank everybody again. Please go on iTunes, subscribe, give us a rate and review. That really helps us out a ton. And as we say every week, drink that Detroit Kool-Aid. Really appreciate everybody. I'm going to get up out of here. Take care. I'm out.
Pack the bags, start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions. Drink it in, man.